All guests on ZASLOW Show 2.0 brought to us by the official beer of the program, Johnny Cuba. Come on, how are you going to get ready for the game this weekend? You go to your local Sedano's, Presidente, Winn-Dixie. You pick up a six-pack of Johnny Cuba. You're all set. You're ready to go. Official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0. Make sure you always drink responsibly. And, of course, don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. Joining us now, unsportsmanlike, every morning, 6 to 10 a.m., ESPN Radio. My colleagues, now that I'm at ESPN Radio, they don't even necessarily know. Like, I don't think Chris Canty knows he's my colleague yet, but they're my colleagues, okay? So one of my colleagues is Michelle Smallmon, Evan Cohen, Michelle Smallmon, Chris Canty, every morning, 6 to 10 a.m., unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio. It's good to meet you. It's good to have you on the show here. How are you enjoying unsportsmanlike? Are you guys getting used to each other? It seems like you've gotten yourself into a good rhythm now.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to join one of my fellow teammates on your show. Things are good. Things are really good. We were talking about it before we went live, just about how brutal the 4 a.m. wake up call is,
Oh,
particularly when you have to stay up and watch a football game or a basketball game or a baseball game the night before. But we've been doing this for, I think, 5 months now. I think this week was our 5-month anniversary of the show. And it feels like we've been doing it for much longer, which I think is a good thing because I think that that signifies just how we've grown and our connectivity as a show unit. Because, when you first step into this, you're sitting in a windowless room for 4 hours with people that you don't really know, and you don't know what their thought process is going to be or how they want to build a show or what their sense of humor is like. So as the months have gone on and we've gone through this football season together, we've really gotten to learn about one another. And I think that we're in a pretty good place right now. We have a lot of fun every day.
now you've done mornings before when you were in St. Louis locally, but now you're on TV every day doing
Yeah.
mornings. I used to do mornings here in Miami, and I'll roll in. I'm wearing what I slept in. Like, who cares? I'm gonna look like a total schlub when I walk into that studio. But if I were on camera every day, I mean, look, there's only so much I could do to touch up on my appearance, but you do have to get a little bit ready for the camera. So that adds, like, are you comfortable with the camera the whole time?
You say a little ready for the camera. It takes me like an hour to get ready for the camera, especially coming in at 4 o'clock in the morning. I look like a troll that just rolled out from underneath the Brooklyn Bridge. It is a rough scene when I arrive in the morning, and we have an amazing team of artists. Anita, who does my hair every day, and Lou and Ashley, who trade off on my makeup. They do CC and Evan's hair and makeup as well, but they take like 2 minutes. But yeah, it's been interesting because you're right. Radio, we did kind of just wear whatever we wanted. It's a very casual environment. You sit in a room with people for hours on end and you have a conversation. So you want to make sure that you're comfortable and that your guard is down in a way and your dress fits into that. But now that we're on camera every day, I have to worry about what I'm going to wear in the morning. Does this dress look good on TV? What's this color going to present like on TV? And let me tell you, people are not afraid of telling you if they think you look good or
I
bad.
know. I
And
know.
there is a lot of days where I'll walk out of the hair and makeup room and be like, okay, we pulled it together. Another day we pulled it together. And then I unfortunately open up social media and it's like, I hate your shirt. Why are you wearing that? I'm like, I'm sorry. Next time I'll consult with you. My bad. But I don't think that I'll ever get used to the cameras being on all the time. It's a very foreign thing for me.
So one thing that used to get me when I was doing morning radio was, do I have to stay up and watch this game? And the worst for me was during college football bowl season because those
Oh.
games would start at 9 and they'll end at 1 a.m. because all college football games are 4 hours. Like, do I really need to see this game? Are you running into that issue?
Um, A little bit, yes, we did in college. You're right. Like NFL, no questions asked. You're
Yeah.
watching all of the games. We are consuming all of that. We're going to be breaking that down at length, not only on Monday but throughout the week. And it's even if it's a game that might not have as big of a billing coming into the following week for us to react to, it's always good to watch those teams because you're likely going to have a game where you need to have that body of work and that knowledge and those data points on that team. But with college football, I had to learn this in the beginning because I was spending every Saturday watching as many games as I could. And then we would arrive and I would say, okay, so we're going to talk about this game. We're going to talk about this game. I spent all of this time in football jail on Saturday watching these games that we're not going to even give any airtime to. So that was certainly an adjustment period for me, figuring out what we really needed to watch every minute of and what games I could
Yeah.
just get little snippets of. But so far, NFL, everything. And now, once we're past the Super Bowl, I imagine it'll be NBA every night, really getting ingrained into the NBA.
How many Super Bowls have you been to?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, I'm gonna have to be annoying and count them on the air. So I went to New Orleans.
Mhm.
I went to Indy. I have been to Houston. I was
You
there
went
for
to
the
these games. You stayed for the game.
I didn't stay for every game, but I went to Super Week. The only game I've been to is when I covered it for ESPN Radio back in the day. That was the 28-3 Patriots Falcons Super Bowl,
Oh,
the
wow.
iconic comeback at NRG Stadium in Houston. That's the only game I ever stayed for. But I've been to the
Wow.
Super Bowl and the week leading up.
Wow, so the only one you like I've only been to one. It was the Steelers and Seahawks. It was the '05 season, so the game was in '06. The Steelers won 21-10. I think the final score was in Detroit. Terrible city, terrible game. But you
No, Detroit, what?
oh oh it was February, Michelle. There was
Oh, okay.
hail one night. There was hail. I'm here in Miami. There was hail I was dealing
That's
with there.
fair. That's fair.
Horrendous weather. Horrendous
Yeah.
weather.
We have Dan Graziano on the show all the time, and we were talking about how it's going to be cold in Vegas. A lot of people are assuming it's going to be warm, but it dips at night. It's the desert. It gets
Mhm.
cold at night. And he's like, after we went to Minneapolis, we went to Minnesota a couple years ago.
Right.
I'll never complain about weather ever again.
Right.
So that sounds like your version of Detroit.
So you've only been to one. That's a good one to have gone to, though. Who
Yes.
who is your team?
Oh, I don't have a team. My team was ripped from me. I'm from St. Louis. I was a Rams fan.
Okay.
Now they're my mortal enemy. So I'm a free agent. I'm like the NFL version of the Bachelorette. I don't have a team to love, but I am ready to love again. So next season I'm going to have to pick.
Well, so okay, how are you going to pick then? How do we do this?
I don't know. But I could certainly use your brain power on this because we've thrown around a couple ideas on the show, and any suggestions are welcome because I have 31 teams that I can consider. The Rams are out. I'll never love them again. They did
Yeah.
me wrong. When you break up with somebody, it's not usually wise to go back down that road. So I think that ship has sailed for me. But there's a lot of other options, obviously, and a lot of great qualities for every team. And I kind of don't know which way to go. I think maybe the Chiefs are out because I don't want to jump on that bandwagon. It feels a little icky to jump on a dynasty bandwagon, especially if they win again back to back
I
years. They
feel
win
like
on
you're
Sunday.
telling us that you don't want to be like Evan Cohen, who
Correct.
decided early in the 2000s, you know what, I'm a huge Patriots fan.
Correct. He is the front runner fan of all front runner fans. He
Yeah.
loves a team on top. So I don't want to be like Evan because he's already got that cornered on our show. But I
Yeah.
need help figuring out how I'm going to go about this.
I think you should pick a team who has a young quarterback where
Okay.
it's like you're on the ground floor. They're obviously not good if they have a young quarterback. And at least this way, you get to be there. It ends up being organic, where you're right there at the start where they were lousy. You get to watch the QB grow, and
Yeah.
nobody can tell you that you were a front runner. So I think maybe you got to pick one of the bad teams. That sucks, all right? But with a young quarterback, it gives you someone to root for. I feel like maybe that's the route to go with.
Okay, that's really smart. So I don't know if this qualifies. He's a young quarterback, but had success this year. I'm
Mhm.
very intrigued by loving the Green Bay Packers. It
Yeah, I
kind of
think that's
fits to
okay.
me.
I think that's
But
okay.
but they're somehow find the quarterback fountain of youth every year. You go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. How does that happen? There are so many franchises out there that are stuck in quarterback purgatory, and the Packers always find a way. So it almost feels like even though they're a young team on the rise and Jordan Love is certainly fresh on the scene, that it feels like I'm joining an already really established great franchise. So I don't know if that's allowed, but they
I think
intrigue
it's
me a
okay.
lot.
I think it's okay. They've won one Super Bowl in like the last 25 years. It's
Okay.
yes, they've had the quarterbacks, but they're not. You're not rolling with this dynasty. I think that's okay. I think
Okay.
Green Bay fits the bill, and everyone, the NFL fan, kind of likes the Packers. It's a small little team. The stadium's in the middle of a neighborhood. They don't have an owner. The fans
Yep.
own the team. I think the Packers a decent choice, Michelle. I think you should give that some real consideration. I like
Yeah,
them.
I'm a Midwest girl. I've gone to Green Bay. It's my type of place.
Yeah.
Beer, fried cheese, high fives from everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of my place. Like have been to Miami. I love Miami, but I don't know if I fit Miami. You know what I mean? It's a great place for me to visit and spend time in, but I don't know if they would view me as one of their own.
Well, I mean, I saw your mob boss get up, mob boss wife get up the other day. If that's the case, you're looking at Giants or Jets. If you want to walk around looking like that, how did that come about? Was that on purpose?
Oh, of course it was on purpose. Have
Okay,
you seen this trend that's going on? This new aesthetic that's out there? It's called the mob wife aesthetic. I don't know if
I
you've
haven't
seen
seen
this.
this. No.
Okay, let me explain. So last year, the trend for hair and makeup was clean girl, a slicked back bun, a dewy skin, clean girl aesthetic. At the beginning of the year, this girl went viral because she was like, clean girl is out, mob wife is in. We're talking big hair, eyeliner, a little bit of an attitude, big gold jewelry. And I'm Italian, even though I'm from St. Louis. My mom is from New Jersey. And I was like, oh, this is made for me. We have to do mob wife at some
Did you
point.
get the
So
coat from your mother?
I did not. I had that in my closet. That was my own personal faux
Okay.
fur that I had in the closet. But I should have borrowed one of hers. You're right. That would have added a little something, I think, to the look. But as I mentioned, Anita and Lou in the hair and makeup department were so in, and I came in early, and we really dedicated ourselves to the look, and it was really fun. We had a great
Oh, it was
time.
perfect. It was so good. It was so
Thank you.
good. It was really, really great. Taylor Swift, are you annoyed with all the Taylor Swift stuff with the Chiefs, or are you into it?
I'm so into it. I know some people think it's a little oversaturated that we hear about it all the time, but when I got this job, something that was really important to me was finding a way to make space for more women to come to sports talk radio. And Taylor Swift has done that for me in a very turnkey way, in a very organic way. My girlfriends have watched the show since I started because they love and support me. They know nothing about football, nor do they really care to know. Through osmosis, they've picked some things up. But Taylor Swift starts dating Travis Kelce, and they're like, oh, Chiefs and Ravens, Lamar Jackson. Like they're paying attention to the
Yeah.
things that I say now because they're interested in the game because of her. And I've seen so many beautiful stories about dads and daughters finding a way to connect through football because Taylor Swift is the vessel that has gotten them there. So, as a daddy's girl and as a female that loves that more women that I know and more women around the country are taking interest in the sports world, particularly the NFL, I'm going to cheer for that any way I can get it.
I like it. I think overall the cameras show the crowd in between plays a little bit too much anyway, and it's just random people. So would I rather see the crowd shot of Taylor Swift, who at least I
Right.
know, or random people? I'd rather see crowd shot of Taylor Swift. I don't understand what the big deal is.
She's the biggest, one of the biggest global superstars that we have going right now. She infused $1 billion into the economy. That's how popular this person is. It would be bad business for the NFL to not show her. I read something the other day on the show. I hope I get the number right, but just her being showed on the broadcast has generated, I think it was $331 million worth of additional brand awareness for the NFL. Think about that.
Wow.
And she's shown for seconds a game. I don't even think it's in totality, probably it's less than 3 minutes, maybe, because they're only showing her in small snippets. Over $300 million in additional brand awareness for what is already a behemoth in our cultural world. That's the type of impact that she has. So if I'm the NFL, you better believe I'm going to show her. And if I'm somebody at home, I also think from a perspective of a fan, whether you love it or you think it's too much, it's polarizing. And then it's yet another great storyline for us to care
Mhm.
about.
So what's the setup in the Smallman household this Sunday, or do you go somewhere? What's the routine for the Super Bowl?
Okay, great question. We were actually just talking about this off air on our show. So, Evan has shared that he is a loner when it comes to Super Bowls or watching a big game. He likes to sit there
He's a
by
maniac.
himself. He
Yeah,
is, he's a
he's a
maniac.
maniac.
Take notes, etc. So, normally on the weekends, Sunday, as I shared, my friends call it football jail because they're like, Michelle cannot come to brunch. She cannot come to a workout class. She's in football jail. She's got to stay there all day and
Mhm.
all night, take notes, watch the game. The Super Bowl is different. The Super Bowl is different. It is an American holiday, and I love to celebrate it. I also love to cook, and I live in the smallest apartment you've ever seen in New York City. My kitchen is so small that I can't even fit a cutting board on the countertop to cook.
No.
Yes,
No.
it's very brutal, but I feel lucky that I got a place in this neighborhood, in this building, so
And it's
we're
like
we're
$8,000 a month.
it is you would throw up if you knew what I paid in rent every month to rent a studio apartment where I
Yeah.
can't even cook in
Yeah.
it. But you know what? The energy of the city, unmatched. This is what I tell
Right.
people. But my friend who has a much bigger place is hosting a big Super Bowl party, and I'm gonna be on the food for the party. So I'm very excited to go. I'm making buffalo chicken dip. I'm making sheet pan nachos, maybe some cupcakes. We got to get a dessert in there somehow. But I'm really excited to go to a Super Bowl party and watch with other people and break free on a Sunday for once.
Watch with the normals.
That's right.
Oh, do you have a rooting interest?
Yes and no. I have a rooting interest really either way. I was very bummed that Detroit didn't make it because I would have
Yeah.
loved for the Lions to have that opportunity to capture the Super Bowl. Um, I just think it is so spectacular that we're talking about Mr. Irrelevant potentially winning a Super Bowl and potentially winning a Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and this Kansas City Chiefs team. This defense, the second best defense in the NFL all season long. For all of the debate about Brock Purdy, is he good? Is he great? Would he have success elsewhere? The fact that he's even in this position, I think is so amazing. So part of me is rooting for continued greatness with Patrick Mahomes because it's just another chapter in an already special career that we can continue to have the debate between he and Tom Brady. But there's something so rare about Mr. Irrelevant being QB1 for a Super Bowl team. So I think if I had to pick from just an emotional standpoint, I would go for San Francisco.
The conversation around him is so weird because if Brock Purdy was a top pick in the draft, like Joe Burrow was, and in his second year, he's in the Super Bowl,
Mhm.
win or lose, it's like, he's the guy. He's our franchise quarterback, which is exactly what happened with Burrow, and Burrow's great. But because Purdy was the last pick in the draft and he's in the Super Bowl in his second year, I feel like if he doesn't win or even if he doesn't perform well, oh, you see, he's not the guy. He's not that good. That's why he was Mr. Irrelevant. When it's only because of what we thought of him before the draft. Instead of all of us admitting we were wrong, we should have known who this guy was. He should have been selected earlier. I feel like so many people are entrenched in that position to be right and jump on him if they lose. When if he was a top pick, everyone would be fawning over him. He's amazing. He's already in the Super Bowl his second year.
Could not agree with you more. All season long, Brock Purdy has suffered from the "yeah, but" that precedes his name. Yeah, Brock Purdy's good. Yeah, but look at all the talent he has around him.
Mhm.
Brock Purdy's really good. Yeah, but the Kyle Shanahan offense, anybody can have success there. Brock Purdy's good. Yeah, but he's not the best player on his team. He's not the reason why they win games. And all he does is prove people wrong. Oh, he doesn't really have to operate from behind. Can he do that? Well, he's proven that 2 weeks in a row in the playoffs. Oh, if he has a bad first half, is he going to be able to rebound? Yeah, we saw. We saw that happen not once again, but twice. Oh, if he's required to be the one to help them win the game, can he do it? Yeah, we've seen him step up and make huge plays, especially with his legs, which is a whole nother wrinkle in the Brock Purdy game that we didn't necessarily know that he would have. But you're right. If this was Trey Lance, who the 49ers made a huge investment in, not only where they selected him in the draft, but the draft capital that was required to bring him in. If the numbers were the same, if the throws were the same, if the game looked exactly the same, we'd be like, oh, 49ers are genius. Like they mortgaged so much to bring this guy in and it's paid off. But because this guy was selected with the last pick in the draft and he's Mr. Irrelevant, nobody wants to believe he's that good, which I think is bonkers.
Yeah. Michelle, excellent debut on ZASLOW Show 2.0. Promote everything you guys got going on. Obviously, like I said, 6:10 a.m. every morning on Sportsmanlike ESPN Radio. Am I leaving anything out?
No, just follow us on social media too. Let me get the handle because I always get it
Yeah.
wrong. Hang on one second because it's not unsportsmanlike.
It was
It's
taken. It was taken when you guys created the
That was
show.
taken. So you can follow us on social media at Unsports ESPN. Our social media guru, Rob Lorenzo, putting up some amazing behind the scenes stuff, not only from our show, but from Greeny as well. He works with Greeny. So that's always a fun way to find us too.
Awesome. Good to have you on this show, Michelle. Good meeting you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.